back in camp, and we find Mike has a note. So we knew roughly the area where he went.
Well, we knew where he was going.
Yeah, so we grabbed the side-by-side gear to go recover a moose.
Chainsaw,
Yeah,
hatchets,
like
axes.
a blood light for tracking in the dark, which was super useful. Worked really well. Sorry. Ugh. So we loaded up, we took off down this trail in the direction that we knew that he was going. Got down there quite a ways and ended up running into him. He was...
Well, we ran into his quad. Well, we found where his quad was.
Yeah, his quad was there on the trail. So he had shot, he'd come back to camp, left us a note, grabbed his quad and his gear, and then he went out. So we found where he was. We could see that he had some ribbon marking where he was going. So we went in, followed him in there, found him.
Yeah.
He got a shot on a moose. It was fairly forward, got him in the shoulder, and he didn't feel like it had great penetration.
Yeah, and there wasn't a lot of blood.
Yeah. So we followed a blood trail, and we tracked that moose for 4 hours that night.
I think so, something
in
like
the
that,
dark
yeah.
for about 4 hours.
Now, we didn't make it very far either in 4 hours, like a couple hundred yards, I think.
I think as a crow flies, we were probably a good 500 yards that we had gone. But this moose went up a ridge, down through this gully, up another side, through the bush.
Yeah.
Definitely had the feeling that he wasn't hurt very bad. He was, the where he had gone and how far he had traveled, ended up that the blood dried up. We couldn't find any more blood. At this point, it was probably 12:30 at night. And so knowing that we had Stevens down and that this trail had dried up, we had it all marked with flag and tape. And so the intention was, if that moose had gone that far, it was probably better to leave him for the night.
Let him bed down.
Let him bed down, and then see if we could pick up blood in the morning.
So the interesting thing about that moose is the moose that I shot at was a smaller 7-point. The other one was a paddle, white paddles.
Yeah, big white paddles.
And the trail, so the cut line that goes to the trail Mike was on actually is about 200 yards from where I shot at mine.
Yeah.
So we figure there's a good chance it was probably the same moose.
I'm going to say it was further than that, but yeah, it ran directly to
it
where...
was almost
to where,
exactly where we would say it was going.
Yeah, to where he was, and for the timing of his shot and the timing of your shot, it was, I'm quite certain it was that second moose that I saw.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Big white paddles, real nice looking moose.
Yep.
So at 12:30, when we ran out of blood, we decided, well, we'll let him lay down and come back and do more looking. Of course, no hunter likes that feeling of having to leave an animal.
Yeah, I don't
but
think
the
we got
risk,
a lot of sleep that night.
No, the risk was, just pushing him further and further and further and further. So
Yeah.
strategy-wise, it was probably best to try to let him lay down. Plus, we still knew that we had yours down. He was dead on the ground, and we still had to recover that moose. So we decided to pack up from that spot and make our way to the other place.
Yeah. I was getting a little worried at that point too. Like it was midnight, and there's a lot of coyotes in that area, and they were howling everywhere. And I was a little worried they were going to get on them and just destroy it.
Yipping and howling and end up ruining an animal. So we went after that. It took, we were on some old trails, where we had fallen logs across the trail.
Yeah.
So we're cutting our way in to a point where we have to go basically through the bush at that point to get to where this...
we basically took a hard right straight through the woods.
Yeah, so it probably took us 2 hours to cut a trail.
Yeah, I would say at least.
Into that animal. It was...
all by headlights.
Yeah, all by headlights. It was 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
We we got to that animal, just
Oh,
what a long day with
yeah,
a lot of work.
already
We were
beat down.
pretty exhausted even,
Walk 20K.
and then we had to deal with that animal. So we gutted him out and broke him down into quarters, bagged him up, loaded him on the machines, got out of there and back to camp. 4:30 in the morning, I think we got
I
back to
think it was
camp.
something like that. Yeah, it was time to wake up to go hunting again.
Yeah, pretty much. But we had this animal to deal with, so we skipped that morning of hunting. Me and you stayed in camp and built a meat pole and strung up our quarters with game bags so the meat could dry, air out, which worked out really good.
Yeah.
And in the time that we were doing that, Mike went back to try to locate his moose.
Yeah.
He went back to the last point where we had
Last
blood,
blood.
and he did.
Now it did drizzle overnight too. It rained a bit when we were cutting
Yeah.
up my moose. So
Unfortunately, yeah, there was.
it was going to be hard to do.
Yeah, it rained through the night. He went back to the last point of blood, and he just started doing circles, bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and he never did
found
pick up any more blood.
No, I mean a moose shoulder is tough, and at the what was it, a 50-yard shot?
Yeah,
It is. There's a good chance that bull's still alive.
yeah, no, for sure. I don't think for what we saw for blood and for where that animal traveled, I don't think he was hurt very bad at all.
No, I think it went into his shoulder and stopped right there.
But in the interest of not losing an animal, certainly.
Oh yeah, we
Mike
put
went-
in our work for sure.
Yeah, Mike went back. He was there searching for another 6 or 7 hours by the time he got back to
Yeah.
camp. So
For sure.
yeah, unfortunately, that animal got away. We feel pretty good about the fact that he was probably okay, not critically injured for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, one of those things hunters go through. Many hunters go through it. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants it to happen.
No, but that's archery hunting.
That's
Like you can't blow through a shoulder every time.
and quite certain that a lot of those animals definitely they do all right. A couple of years ago, I got an elk with a buddy of mine, and good shot on the elk, and when we dressed it out, skinned it and dressed it out, there was actually a broke off arrow in his shoulder, probably 2 inches from where my buddy shot him. So it's just amazing.
Oh yeah, like they can survive. That's for sure.
Yeah. So if you get a good, obviously try to get a good clean shot and get your animal down.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to chase them and chase them and chase them and end up empty-handed. So
No, our goal is always to get them down fast, clean, and
yeah. So unfortunate for Mike. It was a decent moose, but maybe we'll get another chance at that one.
I mean, I'm sure he won't go far.
Yeah. And so we were there another day after that and checked again a third time back in there, and no crows.
No,
know?
there was no crows.
No crows. We didn't find anything. So
No, that moose wasn't recovered, and I believe he's still alive.
yeah,
I don't think that was.
I don't think he
I
was
don't think he would succumb to
critically
that
wounded. Yeah, no,
injury,
for sure.
So
then that was the end of elk camp. Elk camp ended up being one moose down camp.
a success, if you ask me.
Yeah, it was great.
We got to bring meat home.
Good trip with good buddies. Good times. Lots of memories.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of
Learning.
a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of
I
fun.
truly enjoy it. So,
Look forward to that trip every year.
yeah, that's one of the priority trips for sure every
Yeah.
year to try to get out elk hunting for bow hunting for elk. So,